interpreted thusly and whatever, and at least there'll be some sort of, then you can go from there. What do you think? I mean, I'm just suggesting.
At the end, about thought.
You mean where we went?
Yeah.
Enough to do a lot. There was, I even could use the word revolutionary. Oh, well, that's wonderful.
All right, everything okay?
Yeah. 10 seconds. Okay. We'll just wait for all the other conversations to yeah. So I guess the best way to begin is to say that I know we're old friends, and old friends don't usually sit with one of them having notes on his lap to have a conversation, but this is a special occasion. I want to thank you for sitting down here this way. And so I hope you'll forgive the impropriety if I read from some of these notes.
It's all right.
I have prepared some questions.
Yes.
The first question is, some people might find it unusual for a theoretical physicist to have an interest in things like consciousness and the thinking process. But in fact, your work reflects a growing involvement with these and associated subjects over a period of many years. When did this interest begin? How and why has it become such an important aspect of your present work? And can what you now explore still be considered physics, theoretical or otherwise?
Yes, well, I think implicitly my interest in consciousness began very early, but the earliest incident that I can recall happened about at the age of 11 or 12, I can't remember, but I was with some boys and we were in the mountains near Wilkes-Barre, crossing a rather rapidly flowing stream. And
that's in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
In the States. Huh?
That's right. And there were a lot of rocks we had to cross on. They were rather far apart and very small, and you couldn't just step across them, and I felt very apprehensive. It seemed a new situation. But I suddenly realized you had to jump from one to the other without stopping in between, that you were in a state of movement, pivoting on one rock while you moved to the next. Whereas I'd usually thought of going from one step to another, mapping out the steps.
And generally that's the way you functioned up until
yes,
that point?
Well, I think people generally did, a lot of them.
In other words, you think before you...
Well, you try to map it out a bit, and it's more secure and so on. But see, here was a case that wouldn't work, and you had to do it from moment to moment. Then after that I felt that it made a deep impression on me that this theme has recurred a lot in my work, that your consciousness is going moment by moment of awareness and not mapped out.
Do you recall that coming back again later, before you even went into physics?
Well, I can't remember. I don't really recall a lot of my childhood.
I see.
But I think this was combined with some tendency to want to go beyond limits. You see, when I was in this small city of Wilkes-Barre, you see the nearest towns around it were called Ashley, Sugar Notch, and Warrior Run. So that's all I knew. I mean, I didn't know them, but I knew about them. So then we went for a ride beyond Warrior Run. It seemed like going beyond the world, you see.
I see.
And so I had this notion of, see, people talked about the world, and I said, where does it end? And
what answer did they give?
Well, I don't remember. It wasn't terribly convincing, I suppose. So I think that notion used to fascinate me. I remember in third grade, perhaps, there was a sort of a Nordic folk tale of about some place which was east of the sun and west of the moon. The idea being that it was beyond all limits. And that idea always fascinated me. So I think that was combined. You see that I didn't really want to stay within limits, you see. And this was combined with my interest in consciousness, I mean, which was mostly implicit at that time. I mean, I didn't very often think about it explicitly.
Mm-hmm. What period of time was that in
What?
chronologically? It was about the 20s or the 30s?
It was in the 20s, yeah.
The 20s.